Focus is the key.
Alright guys, welcome back to the WCG 2012 USA National Finals for the United States of America. We're in the last best of three of the night. We're trying to decide who deserves that spot in the World Championships to represent the USA. It's going to be either spawning, and then on the top right, it is the pink Terran player, TriMaster from Team Complexity, of course, his opponent. In the bottom left, it is QXC. TriMaster showing that he is refusing to give up. Defeated QXC in the first best of three of the grand final, but this is a grand final, which means, and QXC came from the winner bracket, which means QXC, or TriMaster, I should say, must win two best of threes in a row. QXC showing complete dominance throughout the tournament so far. Taking out Mass 2-0, Kawhi Rice 2-1. TriMaster already in the open bracket, he defeated 2-0. To bring himself to the winner's bracket grand final. But TriMaster showing he is going to refuse to give up. He did it. In the online qualifiers, he came back from being down 2-0 in a best of five, showing he has the ability to come back at a live event as well. Took down QXC in the first best of three, 2-1. And now it's a clean slate. The winner of this best of three will be your USA WCG 2012 champion and will advance to the World Finals in China as a representative of the United States. It's going to be a complexity player. It's going to be either TriMaster or QXC. It's going to be the winner of this best of three. TVT on Entombed Valley, and we've seen how strong QXC is on this map. Looks like he's changing up his build a little bit, though. Two factories on the field. Starport and a barracks. Previously, I think he got his third a little bit sooner, and he would have three factories by this point. Two Hellions in a tank on the way, siege mode on the way as well. TriMaster, his build is Marine tank off of two bases. Siege mode is not yet started for him, even though he has two tanks on the field. Not sure if that was a misclick. Okay, just now starting that siege mode is TriMaster. They are cross positions on Entombed Valley. Viking versus Viking here, and TriMaster's going to lose. QXC getting the better end of that engagement. QXC advancing across the map with plenty of Hellions. Loading up a bunker with 3 Marines, trying to see what his opponent is up to. TriMaster, he's pushing across the map. QXC's going to see the tanks and Marines. He's backing up, but this time he's prepared. QXC's siege mode is done. He can set up a defensive position at the top of this ramp. TriMaster just about to finish up that siege mode. We have Blue Flame on the way from QXC as well. QXC trying to pick off some Marines here and there. Might try to just swing around and counterattack, but TriMaster would be prepared for that, has a bunker. QXC needs to siege up his tanks right now. That's exactly what he's going to do. There's no medevac here, so no elements of elevatoring for TriMaster in this situation. TriMaster throwing away a lot of units for free, and all of a sudden QXC takes a supply lead 82 to 68 in that supply count. QXC's not done, catching two tanks off guard here with his Marines and Hellions. Now QXC's going to counter immediately. Two Vikings going to be spotting. TriMaster going to take watchtower control here and set up a defensive position. But there's only two tanks here, or there's only one tank here from TriMaster. QXC's going to set up his tanks, taking some shots off onto those Marines. Repairing those Hellions with his SCVs. Another tank coming forward, trying to absorb the damage with the Hellions, trying to get some key shots off with the tank of his own. QXC desperately trying to break this, has 90 supply to his opponent's 64. At what point do you try to land those Vikings? I'm considering. 3 Marines and a tank going to be enough to hold that watchtower for now. But unsieging is TriMaster, going to try to get away with those tanks. Blue Flame is now complete for QXC. The 2 tanks, 5 Hellions, 3 Vikings lurking across the map. TriMaster setting up a defensive position, though, with these siege tanks of his own. QXC landing one of his Vikings, but TriMaster getting cleaned up by QXC's army. He's up 88 to 64 supply, going for the win in game 1 right here, right now, scanning above. Not many tanks available for TriMaster. QXC going to siege in range of the bunker, but out of range of TriMaster's tank. TriMaster going to have to pull some SCVs to repair this bunker. And he's going to be losing money over time as he has to pull some more SCVs here. He might even lose some SCVs at this point. Vikings from QXC giving him some air control, but realizing, all right, maybe we're overextending a little bit. Let's play this safe. Let's back up, and let's try again later. We have a reactor starport out from TriMaster, so 2 more Vikings could pull the battle in his favor, considering we have 3 Vikings from QXC, but 2 of them are extremely low in health, 23 and 33, respectively. QXC backing up with those 2 tanks. Has a Marine at the watchtower. Going to be attacked moving to the top left, just making sure there's no hidden expansions there from TriMaster. QXC has come too far not to play safe. Taking a third of his own. Third is complete from TriMaster. Going to move that over. QXC has that supply advantage, 114 to 90. I feel like if QXC gets a significant advantage, he's not going to let TriMaster back into it by any means. As TriMaster has shown, even if he's behind, he can definitely come back against the best. Both these players fighting for their tournament lives, fighting for that spot in China WCG to represent the United States. QXC has a formidable army. So many tanks and Hellions involved here. Those Hellions do have blue flame, and he started on the upgrades. Already has Terran vehicle weapons level 1 on the way, adding on a second armory. So we can really bump up those upgrades. Seven tanks on the field here for QXC, up 142 to 111 in that supply count, keeping his Hellions watching, ever watchful over that 4th base. TriMaster again sticking with this Marine Marauder composition that has worked so well for him so far. SCV's getting taken out, who's trying to make the wall there. Nice pick off there from QXC, going to wrap around to the natural expansion of the tank there. Don't expect him to do too much damage. Scan going down from QXC, trying to see what's up. TriMaster on 2 bases, QXC on 2 bases. Income tab shows QXC ahead 71 to 64. Of course, we're live here at New York City at Comic-Con. It is Sunday, it is the final day. People are starting to wrap up and get out of here. I think they're actually kicking people out, maybe. Event about to come to a close, and so is this tournament. This is the last best of 3 of the night. 4 tanks, plenty of Marines and Marauders here for TriMaster. QXC trying to set up a defensive position, does not want to lose middle control, needs to siege up his tanks relatively soon, does not want to get caught off guard by these Marines and Marauders from TriMaster. QXC going to siege right on time, and that's not going to be an issue. 2 additional command centers being added on by QXC. Those should be made, 1 at least should be made into an orbital command. 1 might be lifted off and sent to the bottom middle. Quick pause there, not sure exactly what's happening, but what's up? How's it going? I'm Axel Toss. The game has begun, so let's go ahead and scroll right back into there. Just a quick pause there from TriMaster, trying to fix some settings. QXC have 168 to 159 supply. If he gets caught on siege, though, that can all melt in a second. QXC needs to play very methodically, slow pushing. Oh, Hellions getting soaked up by some damage there. QXC losing some Hellions, trying to position his tanks optimally here. Using the Vikings for that air vision. Tanks getting some key shots off onto those tanks and Marauders. QXC slowly leapfrogging his units forward. Again, keep in mind, he has a 4th base behind this. It's slowly going to start getting saturated. TriMaster stimming up, trying to get some damage done to these tanks. Not sure about that stim, though. QXC getting a lot of key shots off on those siege tanks. Hellions used to absorb some of that damage. QXC still up in supply, 164 to 153, but TriMaster making the game out of this. Not going to fall just yet. TriMaster could set up his 4th base if he wanted to. QXC really isn't applying a pressure to this side of the map. Command center being morphed into an orbital command. Meanwhile, we have a command center there from QXC, probably shortly going to be made into that planetary fortress. Scan going down here from TriMaster. Somehow gotten himself a supply lead, 174 to 170, sending more Marines and Marauders down to the low ground. And QXC is going to immediately back away. Sieging up again has to be very careful. You can't really want to run with an army like this. Reinforcements on the way from QXC. So many tanks here. TriMaster smells vulnerability, going to go for it. Sieging up his tanks, though, is QXC, and now reinforcing with his main army. QXC losing a lot of those units, but bringing forward these tanks from the back. Great siege line here from TriMaster, and QXC is not going to be able to engage that. What's good for QXC is that his bank is going to be much bigger at this point in time, has had this 4th base for a while. The gas is what's important, especially when you're going for that mech composition and eventual transition into battlecruisers that we've seen QXC do so much on this map. Again, this is game 1 of a best of 3, the final best of 3 of the night. QXC smells vulnerability. He's going to be attacking from the left-hand side. TriMaster going to scan this and see what's going on. Going to have to reposition some of his tanks here, but it's not going to be in time. QXC coming forward with all of these tanks and these Hellions, not even sieging up his tanks, finally going to siege those up. Thor shots from above doing a lot of damage, but QXC getting great leverage onto TriMaster's main army supply depots, starting to burn down on the high wall. But counterattack incoming from TriMaster. This is a planetary fortress. QXC needs to move some of these tanks over here to deal with this. TriMaster doing significant damage to this Vespene Geyser here and going to take it down. And it is a pretty important thing to have, especially when you're running back. So QXC has great position right outside this 3rd base of his opponent. TriMaster having trouble figuring out how to engage that. Bringing his Marines and Marauders to the middle, going to try to flank from the left or from the bottom would be a wise decision. Actually, it's going to be from the left-hand side. These tanks trying to rejoin the army. And look at this. He's actually going to lift off the units inside the medevac. The Vikings a little bit out of position, so this could be successful, and it will be. But QXC coming back with those Vikings to try to deal with this medevac and going to take it down. So it looks like he will hold this contained. QXC also returning forward with some Hellions, but TriMaster sweeping in from the right-hand side with those Marines and Marauders to deal with that. QXC up 188 to 171 supply, has his 4th base down behind us, has been able to prevent TriMaster from getting his 4th base. TriMaster mined out of his main base, getting close to it as natural expansion. His 3rd base is fine for now, but grossly oversaturated. QXC's bank is a little bit more significant than his opponent, but he's going to back away for now. Might just let his opponent take this 4th and try to attack from an alternate angle. QXC, about to be mined out of his main base, should be transferring some of these SCVs over to this 4th base at the bottom. Setting up a planetary fortress at the bottom side of the map, taking base after base. Has to be careful, does not want to get caught on siege here. QXC has so many Hellions in this composition. Units tab shows 19 to 8 tanks in favor of QXC. QXC trying to be aggressive. TriMaster stemming forward. Oh, a lot of Hellions going down for free there for QXC. Nice point defense drone there. Oh, tanks taking out that Thor incredibly easily. Not the best positioning there from TriMaster. QXC staying maxed for now. 1200, 1200 in that resources tab. QXC trying to end this right now, slowly, methodically pushing his tanks forward. At what point can he just overwhelm TriMaster? He's now up ahead 191 to 173 in that supply. Banshee doing a lot of damage from above before getting taken out by that Viking. QXC trying to retain that air control, has that superior bank. It's only a matter of time before he adds on that planetary fortress and additional starports, presuming his economy, presuming his bank is high enough. What's important is continuing to mix in those Vikings and Banshees, retaining that air control, and then not giving it up. TriMaster able to saturate this 4th base immediately. QXC unable to prevent that from going down, coming forward with these Vikings and a Raven, throwing down the point defense drone. The Vikings from TriMaster not doing much at all. The point defense drone showing its effectability here. QXC backing up a couple things, might be caught off guard here by these Marauders, but again, the point defense drone showing its power against those Marauders. QXC coming around the left-hand side, deciding it's too much and going to be backing up. QXC going to go for it, going to try to engage this army. At the same time, TriMaster going to stem in from the right-hand side. The tank's doing a lot of damage. The point defense drone really showing its worth. And QXC going to be able to set up some tanks over here if they get down there in time. This orbital command might have to be canceled here, or lifted off. That's exactly what's going to happen. QXC can't get caught unsieged. Alright, sieging 2 tanks there. And QXC has 5 bases to his opponent's 3. Vikings might be able to take down an orbital, and yes, they are. So QXC taking down his opponent's 4th base. TriMaster, he only has 1 mining base on the field. The natural essentially mined out. The main has been mined out for a long time. Sieging up once again is QXC. He is smashed. TriMaster thought about engaging, but he's slowly but surely running out of money, running out of bank, running out of units, running out of time in this game, trying to engage this force in the middle of the map, but QXC, not even Siege, is going to have enough to deal with that. TriMaster forced a long-distance mine from this location at the middle right. QXC sniffs it out, though, and he's going to start positioning his units in that location. SCV is extremely vulnerable to these blue flame Hellions, and a lot might go down here. A lot will go down here to QXC's Hellions. The tanks pushing forward, sieging up. TriMaster trying to engage us, but backing up once again, and QXC is just refusing to allow his opponent back into this game. TriMaster might try to go for it right now with those Marines and Runners and tanks are on stage, but doesn't even matter. The Vikings might land, but no, QXC has way too much. TriMaster not able to break it, and there's the GG from TriMaster. So QXC takes game 1 of this second best of 3, which means QXC, we're going to say it again, we've said it quite a few times, he's 1 win away from taking down this tournament and emerging victorious in the 2012 USA National WCG Tournament. Of course, the winner advances on to the World Finals. Next up, it's going to be on Ohana, and we're just going to get into it. Both players are ready. QXC up 1-0. TriMaster must win 2 in a row. He's done it before. He could definitely do it again. Both these players are teammates, of course, so Complexity is going to be very happy with this result. Of course, QXC and TriMaster fighting for that spot in China to represent United States at the 2012 World Finals, World Cyber Games. Of course, my name is Axel Toss. Cocaster had to catch a flight, so he had to get out of here, but I'll finish up the games here. Countdown has begun. In this best of 3, we are live here at New York City at Comic-Con. And it's emptying out pretty fast here. But the map is going to be Ohana. TVT. We saw a TVT matchup between these two guys in the last series. TriMaster was able to take it down quite comfortably. Let's see how these two players adjust. In the bottom right-hand location, we have the Pink Terran player TriMaster from Team Complexity. Took down QXC, actually fell to QXC in their first best of 3 of the day, then took out QXC in their second best of 3 of the day. This is their 3rd best of 3 of the day. Of course, 2 or 3 of those games ended up having to reset at least 20 minutes in the game, so it feels like these guys have played so many games today. But it's been a lot of fun. Of course, TriMaster's opponent in the top left-hand location, it's the Purple Terran player QXC, also from Team Complexity. QXC needs to win 1 more game to emerge as the USA WCG 2012 champion and get that spot at the World Finals in China to represent the United States. TriMaster this wouldn't be his first comeback. In the online qualifiers for this tournament, it was QXC versus TriMaster. QXC went up 2-0 in the best of 5. And then fell 3-2 to TriMaster, which is why coming into this tournament, TriMaster retained the number 2 seed, and QXC had the number 4 seed. Both these players so close to total victor, going to be happy that at least one of them will get it. Complexity very happy about the results of this tournament. But the question is, which player will emerge victorious? Which player will represent the United States in China at the World Finals at the end of November? TriMaster opening up with the gas first, following it up with the barracks. Meanwhile, QXC opening up with the barracks first. No gases just yet. This looks like a very fast expand build from him. He's going to see the gas from his opponent, so he's going to have an idea of what his opponent's up to as far as, okay, probably going to see an early factory. And we kind of saw this in the last game on this map between these two players. QXC went for a very economic build. TriMaster invested a lot into his early tech, was able to get a fast siege mode, and was able to push his opponent before QXC can get any units on the field, pretty much. The power of the fast siege mode was displayed. So how is QXC going to change things up? Already taking both of his gases, keeping his command center on the high ground. I feel like he really needs to get that factory out as fast as he can. Does not want to be vulnerable to a siege tank push from his opponent, which he lost to in the last game. Second gas being added on by TriMaster. Starport's going to be incoming after this factory is complete. Probably going to build it on top of that starport, I would imagine, on top of that tech lab, I would imagine. And that's exactly what he's going to do. So we should see Banshees incoming from TriMaster relatively soon. Hellion on the way here from TriMaster. Also going to add on a Marine out of that barracks. QXC adding on a factory and a reactor. Prioritizing that gas at this point in time. Saw how fast his opponent got his gas, at least his initial gas. And we might see a scan fairly soon if he hasn't already. So I would expect the next 50 energy from this, or maybe this orbital command will do scan. A scan on this would be absolutely huge. QXC would be able to identify, okay, my opponent has 2 gases, he has cloak, he's on 1 base. TriMaster investing a lot into 1 base at this point in time, which means he has to get some damage done. So is that a scan? Yep, there it is. So QXC is going to scan his opponent, sees that cloak being researched. Now, does TriMaster cancel cloak here? Yeah, he changes over to a medevac. He should be canceling cloak any second now. And he's going to switch to, it looks like, a Marine Hellion drop, immediately taking that expansion. If QXC scanned again, that'd be pretty funny. To ensure that his opponent wasn't going cloak. But, you know, QXC is at the forefront of knowledge in this game. As far as, okay, he knows exactly what his opponent is doing, has some Marines positioned in his main base, has 2 orbital commands, his second orbital done well before his opponent, getting a Viking on the field as well. QXC looking a lot more comfortable on this map than he did the last time these 2 players met on this map. When TriMaster was able to do that Marine tank push with great success. TriMaster now setting a medevac across the left-hand side of the map. There are Hellions going to join him, but plenty of Marines here from QXC, and he has a Viking on the field, and the Viking's going to find the medevac, and that medevac is definitely vulnerable. QXC trying to track it down. And that medevac, it's probably going to die. Oh, however, a Viking coming forward here from TriMaster, so the medevac won't end up dying. The Viking instead going to take a shot on QXC's Viking. Ooh, I think QXC got the first shot off. No, he's just going to run away, though. But QXC keeping that medevac away, taking that national expansion well before his opponent. Already starting to saturate that. Going into Raven production. TriMaster starting siege, adding on that 3rd command center. A little bit of a skirmish here in the middle of the map between 4 Hellions from TriMaster and what were 3 Hellions from QXC, but some more Hellions being added on here. QXC adding on a 2nd factory. Could be mech play from him. In fact, he doesn't have any gases in his natural. Okay, there's the 3rd factory. Probably going to add a tech lab onto this barracks and move this factory onto this tech lab. They'll only be starting siege mode and blue flame, relatively similarly timed together. So QXC is going for mech in this game. Going back to what he's comfortable with. It seems like every game he's gone bio, it hasn't worked out too well for him. The only games I remember from this tournament where he's gone bio, he's lost against TriMaster. QXC actually coming into the main base of his opponent, trying to line up those Marines, trying to get those key shots off, and TriMaster doesn't have a lot to defend against this. QXC spotting vulnerability in his opponent's natural expansion. SCV's running straight into the main. 1 more SCV going down, but the tank and the Viking here on the ground going to be enough to usher those Hellions away there from QXC. TriMaster returning those SCVs to mine at his natural. Income tab shows 48-38 in favor of QXC, well ahead economically. Of course, got that 2nd command center well before his opponent. Oh, he never built that tech lab on that barracks, and thus this factory is add-on less right now. Blue flame could be starting. There's the tech lab. Oops. My observing has not been optimal in this match. mouse, sometimes not very cooperative. Hellions thinking about running into the natural, but shot in the face by those two siege tanks on the high ground. 2 gases being taken for TriMaster. Looks like he's sticking to the style he loves. Marine Bio, Viking Medevac tank. Marine Marauder, I should say. QXC might feel safe to take a third. The third is on the way, taking down those rocks. They to that third expansion. Going to be adding on a couple gases there as well. Now he's really going to start bumping up that tank Hellion production. You'd be able to make 2 tanks at a time and 2 Hellions at a time. Blue Flame is halfway done. Siege mode is done as well. QXC sending a few Vikings to his opponent's main base. It takes down that lone Viking. He can just essentially camp over that starport until the Marines start coming forward. Oh, he's actually going to try to keep himself safe so he can be able to drop in his opponent's main base. Keep in mind, Blue Flame's about to finish. It's not finished just yet. 3 Hellions dropping down. He might have to look those up. That's exactly what he's going to do. Nice idea, though. Trying to clear out his opponent's Vikings so he can actually drop, but TriMaster, I should say, was on top of that. Able to defend against that. Marines patrolling around here for QXC. Ever cautious of those potential drops from his opponent. The true vulnerability of mech play. One of the vulnerabilities. QXC mixing in those Banshees. Continue to add on those Hellions and those tanks. A little bit more difficult on this map to make Hellion run-bys work. You're kind of dependent on drops into the main. Natural expansion is pretty difficult to encroach considering the ramp leading up to it is relatively small, but can try to run around here. But again, the stroke is very manageable for the defending player, which is my mech play is fairly good. But again, it's hard to get that damage done with the Blue Flame. Now, a drop over here would be nice, but we see a turret going down from TriMaster realizing the exact same thing I just did, that he could be vulnerable there later on in time. Well, yeah. QXC going to be marching out to the middle of the map here, has a pretty formidable force involving plenty of tanks, Hellions, Banshees, and Vikings. 4 Vikings, 6 tanks, 8 Marines, and 1 Raven here. 14 Hellions as well in this composition. QXC adding on that 4th command center. Again, if you're just now joining us, this is the World Cyber Games USA Finals. We're live at New York City at Comic-Con. QXC currently up 1-0 in this final best of 3. The winner of this best of 3 will win the tournament and will gain a spot at the World Cyber Games Finals in China. TriMaster defeated QXC in their first best of 3 in this grand final. But since QXC came from the grand final or from the winner bracket and TriMaster came from the loser bracket, this is the second best of 3 between these two guys in the grand final. They also played a best of 3 in the winner bracket final, so these guys have played a lot of each other. TriMaster coming forward here has a superior air force, it seems, to his opponent. Point defense going down from both of these two players. And TriMaster hiding a lot of Vikings here, going to be able to clean up QXC's tank count. And that's exactly what QXC didn't want. Going to have to give up this 4th base location, going to retreat with absolutely everything. QXC mixing in 3 Thors to this composition. That will be a suitable response to those Vikings advantage, but look at that, the Oracle command goes down. TriMaster up 185 to 137 supply, just like that. He also has great position outside of his opponent's 3rd base. QXC caught completely off guard by all of those Vikings and those Banshees from his opponent. QXC has 0 response to these Banshees. He has no way to kill them, and QXC going to try to go for it, but again, the Marauders and tanks doing so much damage. TriMaster looks like he should be able to clean up this game. Up 181 to 127. Quick pause from TriMaster. Not entirely sure what that's about, but it seems like TriMaster is in complete control of the game. 1,700 minerals, 1,000 gas, and advancing into his opponent's 3rd. In a situation where I don't see how QXC can come back. Of course, we've had a share of issues as far as having to restart games, so hopefully that isn't the case here. But again, my name is Axel Toss, bringing you the grand final between QXC and TriMaster. Again, QXC currently up 1-0. And I think we're going to throw... Nope. Okay, it looks like QXC is ready. All right, we're back into the game. QXC backing up those tanks and Hellions, and TriMaster has a pretty solid lead here. Up 177 to 119 supply. How is QXC to come back? 2 Thor is going to help out. Can take care of those Vikings fairly easily. But he still has to have a response to these Marauders and these tanks on the ground. Third base going to stay alive for now from QXC. Might have to start repairing that orbital command. This Thor is incredibly low in health. And QXC is quite frankly out of units. Without units, you cannot win in StarCraft 2. 3 Thors, 1 tank, and 1 Marine, and there it is from QXC. So, players are going to be tied 1-1 going into Game 3. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with Game 3, the final game of the night between QXC and TriMaster. This is the WCG 2012 USA Final. Don't go anywhere. All right, guys, welcome back to the to the USA Finals. This is going to be the last game of the night. It's going to be TriMaster versus QXC. The winner of this, will take it all. This is it. So many games have happened today, and here we are in the final game. In the top right-hand location, we have the pink Terran player TriMaster from Team Complexity trying to complete the comeback against his teammate and opponent in the bottom left. It's the purple Terran player QXC, also from Team Complexity. Let's talk about these guys' path through this tournament, as this is the last game no matter what. There is no game beyond this. It is impossible for another game to happen. Absolutely impossible. This is it. This is Game 3 of a best of 3. These players are tied 1-1. So, QXC started off this tournament with a 4C, which means he played in round 1 against Please Leave Duck, or RMS, I think his battle tag was, battle ID. QXC took it down 2-0. He then played Kawaii Rice in round 2, took Kawaii Rice down 2-1. Then he played TriMaster in round 3, took TriMaster down 2-0 in the winner's bracket final. QXC then waited for the result of the lower bracket, being in the grand final already, and played TriMaster, who came up from the lower bracket, and TriMaster defeated QXC after coming back from being down 1-0. TriMaster equalized the series and took out QXC in Game 1 of that first best of 3 of the grand final, and took down QXC 2-1, leading to this best of 3. This best of 3 is the second best of 3 between these two players. QXC started up once again 1-0. 1 win away from taking home the tournament, but TriMaster refusing to give up, equalizing the series in the last game 1-1. And now the winner of this will be your champion of the USA WCG 2012. Of course, TriMaster's path through the tournament was a little bit more scenic than QXC. TriMaster got a bye in round 1, then defeated Sasquatch in round 2, his teammate, 2-1. Then lost to QXC in the winner's bracket final, 2-0. Dropped down to play Kawaii Rice in the loser bracket final. Did I say loser? In the winner bracket final, he lost to QXC 2-0. Not sure if I said that. But in the loser bracket final, he faced Kawaii Rice and defeated him, I think that was 2-1. Of course, your top 3 players in this tournament, QXC, TriMaster, and Kawaii Rice. And then TriMaster, of course, coming back from the loser bracket, facing QXC in round in their first best of 3. Again, I already went over those results. But TriMaster trying to complete the comeback. These guys have a lot of history together, not only because they're teammates, they play a lot of TVTs against each other as for practice, but they've also played plenty of tournaments against each other. Both trying to emerge as the champion of WCG 2012 USA Finals. Again, the winner of this game will get a spot at the World Finals in China to represent the United States of America. Happening at the end of November. Let's talk about the openings. TriMaster opening up with the gas first, following it up with a barracks and a factory. Reactor on the barracks. Looks like a reactor on the factory as well. Which implies Marine Hellion. He might do a medevac drop. Let's see how that starport's routed. Typical way to play this: send the medevac over here and your Hellions and Marines, and then ferry them into the main. Daybreak is an incredibly large map. Incredibly large bases as well. So there's plenty of spots your Terran opponent can drop inside your opponent's main base. Also lots of airspace you have to worry about. So QXC is going to have to be on top of his unit positioning, making sure he knows absolutely where his opponent is. Might be worth spending a scan once this orbital is done, which he might have already done. Okay, he did. He did scan exactly what his opponent did. Saw the two reactors, saw the barracks, saw the factory, and the starport. So should know exactly what his opponent is throwing at him. Now, TriMaster did invest a little bit into this one base aggression. And this is interesting because TriMaster might just try to push the front door. Which I feel like QXC is a little bit vulnerable here. It's not like he's staying on one base. He's immediately dropping a mule at that natural expansion. But TriMaster might have something to say about this. Advancing forward towards his opponent's natural with those Marines and with those Hellions. QXC has one bunker here, and TriMaster's going to try to engage this. Two SCVs coming forward to try to repair this. They get immediately taken out by those Hellions, but QXC able to hold this fairly easily. And, wow, TriMaster actually throwing away a lot of units there. He's going to try to drop into the main base, trying to make something happen out of nothing. But QXC is going to have none of that. Has those high mobile Hellions, which will prevent TriMaster from being able to drop on the high ground. So QXC handling that fairly well. TriMaster following this immediately up with siege mode being researched. Also adding on a tank. QXC meanwhile going to be placing another reactor on that factory. And it looks like he's going into bioplay. Probably going to build another barracks right here and then put the barracks on top of this reactor. That barracks should come in any second, to be honest. Oh, it's over here. You might just lift that and send it all the way over here. That's kind of weird, but... Okay, there it is. I was wondering. So QXC making a lot of barracks. He's going to have 4 barracks on the field on 2 base. Which means his tank count is going to be low. It's going to be delayed. His siege mode is going to be delayed as well. And TriMaster, his siege mode just now finished. Let's see if he can take advantage of a potential siege tank siege mode timing to try to take down his opponent. There's a scan from QXC. Seeing the factory, barracks, starport, another barracks, playing extremely safe in this game. Burning 2 scans so far. QXC going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 barracks, 3 with reactors. 7 Marines at a time he'll be able to make here. We see 6. He's not making a Marine out of here. I think he's supply block for a little bit. QXC now adding on siege mode, but it looks like TriMaster's going to be marching across the field. And he definitely has a timing here. He's a timer where he can do damage with siege mode. His opponent's not going to have siege mode. QXC wants to delay this as long as possible. Actually, seeing these 2 tanks coming across the field, that's going to help him know exactly what's happening. So QXC scrambling to try to get all these Marines on the field as fast as he can. Really wants to delay this push. TriMaster investing a lot into this. Again, siege mode is almost done. QXC siege mode is not yet done. Trying to get those Marines turned out on the map. And Stim is not yet done for QXC. If it can finish right now, that'd be awesome. But he is going to be able to slow this push down a little bit. Oh, needs to back up. Doesn't want to soak up too many tank shots. Taking out either a medevac or a Viking there. I didn't quite see what it was. QXC has that supply advantage, but he really needs siege mode to finish here because TriMaster can just keep slowly leapfrogging, pressing forward. QXC spamming on that siege mode button right now, finally able to get it done. So I think QXC should be safe. Marines soaking up a lot of damage there from TriMaster. QXC taking down a lot of free units there from TriMaster. And I don't think this timing's going to work out. QXC adding on again, a lot of Marines, a lot of tanks at a time, or at least a lot of Marines at a time. One tank at a time, that's all he needs. As long as those tanks are out on the field, that prevents TriMaster from being as aggressive as he could be, and TriMaster might end up backing away. But if TriMaster sieges up all of his units, QXC can take advantage by stimming up every single one of his Marines and taking out his opponent's army. QXC in a great position here, up 108 to 94, even has air control. TriMaster going to unsiege and back out. But here we go, QXC going to go for it. He realizes the stimming forward his Marines, wants to catch TriMaster off guard. TriMaster sieging one of his tanks, and QXC not willing to commit that much to it. Very tense moments here in the finals. This is the last game of the USA WCG 2012 tournament. Winner of this game advances on to the World Finals to represent the United States and China against the rest of the world. TriMaster going to be backing up, adding on a third command center, but QXC definitely has a lead at this moment in time. His production is going to be off the charts. 7 Marines at a time, 2 medevacs at a time, 1 tank at a time if he wants. Not sure what that factory is yet. It could be building a tank if it wants, but it doesn't really feel like it right now. QXC playing it safe, adding on a couple turrets in his main base, or 1 turret. Oh yeah, there's a couple. Oh, I'm not a liar. Oh, we've seen QXC have plenty of leads in this tournament, just not able to convert them into victories necessarily. We see him with another lead here, 126 to 109 in that supply count is his advantage. Income tab shows 58 to 53. +1. Weapons being added on here by TriMaster. Also getting combat shields. QXC wants to be aggressive, has the Marine and tank count to do so. But TriMaster has siege, so QXC might be content containing his opponent to 2 bases. Making sure he doesn't take this base, making sure he doesn't take this base. Some nice tank positioning here. You can put tanks down here in the low ground. They can hit across this alley. QXC might try to drop into the main base here. That's exactly what he's going to try to do. Lifting off 3 medevacs. There's only 1 turret here and only 1 Viking. QXC coming forward with all of these Marines. TriMaster has to react. He has to react quickly, dropping 2 sets of Marines into his main base. But QXC has so much. He has stim as well. TriMaster essentially throwing a lot of Marines away there for free, sieging up that tank on the high ground. QXC now up in supply 135 to 112. Has the more mobile army, taking down those add-ons to his opponent, actually just targeting down the barracks straight up. And QXC doing a lot of damage here. TriMaster trying to back up to deal with this with his Marines, with his tanks. But keep in mind, QXC can just lift off and back out. Has to be careful if he tries to do that, though, because TriMaster could stim and take out his medevacs. But QXC might try to get it done. Engaging the Marines from TriMaster. And QXC getting away free damage here. And he's going to lift off and get out of here. Right now, I would bet. Or very soon at least. Or might just forfeit all of these Marines. No, he's taking out so many supply depots. What a clever tactic here from QXC. TriMaster refusing to engage, trying to leapfrog his tanks more and more forward. Now going to siege him up. And here's where we should see QXC pick up and get out of there. 1 Marine left behind, but QXC getting the damage done, up 153 to 108 in supply, crippling TriMaster immensely there in that engagement, forcing him to build 4 supply depots straight away, taking a 3rd behind it. QXC's economy is fantastic. And look at the reinforcements. So many tanks, so many Marines reinforcing here from QXC. TriMaster might try to secure a 3rd base, but honestly, he has to worry about not dying to this incoming push here from his opponent. QXC in a commanding lead, but again, can he convert it to total victory? QXC going about this tournament the hard way, letting TriMaster back in it not once, not twice, but 3 times. Trying to seal the deal. Trying to end it now. What? All right, QXC up 179 to 136. Approaching the watchtower. Taking a 4th behind this. Again, he can definitely do this. Just keep going in between the 4th base and the 3rd base and making sure his opponent doesn't secure it. And we have, this is pretty funny. Medevacs passing each other there in the night. Let's see if TriMaster can try to isolate these units. Uh-oh. QXC, yeah. Both players going to unload those medevacs. The good news is QXC now knows about this drop. And he's going to pursue it, and he's going to try to trap him. Oh, one medevac getting taken out. The second getting taken out. TriMaster down to 136 supply, throwing away those 2 medevacs for free. QXC now up 196 to 136. TriMaster trying to set up something here in the middle. Realizes he has to secure an additional base. QXC identifying the amount of turrets his opponent has. I don't think he's going to be able to drop there. He might try to. Needs to lead with the weakened medevac, though, not the... No, needs to lead with the higher health one. See which one the turret gets. Okay, he's going to get the one with the most amount of health. So here we go. Yeah, QXC can be able to drop all these Marines inside his opponent's main base, but can TriMaster take out the medevacs in time? No, he's not going to be able to, but as the Marines are dropped, they're dying incredibly fast. So QXC trying to get that damage done. But unable to be successful. And now QXC getting engaged in the middle of the map here. TriMaster trying to siege up in time, but he doesn't have any units whatsoever. QXC charging forward here with all these tanks, all these Marines, trying to end this right now. TriMaster with only tanks left in this composition. QXC not even going to siege half of his tanks. Going to clean up the rest of the tanks from TriMaster. He only has 2 tanks back here to help defend. Pulling Marines from his main. Has them at his natural. But QXC now up 154 to 114, so close to ending this game. TriMaster able to secure the space at the middle right-hand location. Again, QXC has this middle left-hand base secured. This base as well, and the top left, there's a planetary. QXC scanning, seeing what's up. Here come his reinforcements. QXC approaching max once again. He's going to start slowly pushing forward with those tanks. He might swing around to the natural expansion where TriMaster is going to be vulnerable. Now TriMaster going to have to worry about dipping and dodging between the natural and the third, but QXC just going to stim and go straight into the natural expansion. TriMaster stimming to try to make up the ground, but QXC sieging up every single one of his tanks, volleying off some huge shots onto TriMaster. QXC at the same time going to send a squadron of tanks and Marines through that third base to deny that from happening. Keep in mind, TriMaster had to completely abandon that, and now TriMaster has to deal with 2 fronts at once, and he doesn't have the army to do so. This third is going to get denied. TriMaster running out of supply down to 117. QXC at 193, and TriMaster going to try to drop some Marines on top of these tanks, but QXC going to unsiege, and it's going to have none of that. The Marines cleaning that up incredibly fast. QXC essentially double his opponent's supply. It's only a matter of time at this point. QXC about to finish up this game, about to finish up this tournament and secure his first place victory, charging up into his opponent's natural expansion with those tanks sieging up. Here comes the huge volley from the tanks, decimating absolutely every single Marine, and TriMaster back down to 93 supply, trying to make it happen, but unit after unit spewing across the map here from QXC. He's going to stay maxed for the rest of this game. TriMaster trying to set up a defense, desperately wants to stay alive. He's come so far in this turn, but there's the GG from TriMaster. So QXC is going to be your 2012 USA WCG champion. It took him a while, it took him plenty of games, but finally gets it done and takes out TriMaster. Kudos to TriMaster, though, fighting until the very end to make it happen. Of course, congratulations to QXC. Coming up next, we're going to have an interview with our champion, so don't go anywhere. Again, my name is Axel Toss, and you're watching the WCG USA 2012 Finals. QXC gets a spot in China and takes down the tournament. We'll be back with an interview after a quick break.